Bradley Stalder here from Player Profiler and our projections team. And I'm here to bring you some of the big, bold projections for week 5. But before we get into week 5, I want to tell you, we crushed for week 4. We nailed Terry McLaurin. We got him as a wide receiver too. Solid play. He got the targets. He got the touchdown. And we won with the fade of Jalen Waddle. Waddle, we said, was outside of wide receiver 48. We had him wide receiver 50 when expert consensus had Jalen Waddle at wide receiver 36. We fully faded Waddle into oblivion, and he faded even further, finishing as wide receiver 60 on the week for week number 4. So let's get to it for week number 5. The biggest bold projection for this week is Wan'Dale Robinson, right? We know Malik Neighbors is out, but the consensus has not matched where the player profile projections have him. Wan'Dale Robinson is expert consensus wide receiver 31. Our projections have him as wide receiver 21. And you're like, but Bradley, he doesn't get a lot of yards on his targets. It doesn't matter. We are projecting a 30% target share for Wan'Dale Robinson, and he's able to put that up before. We've seen it. Even last week with Malik Neighbors in the lineup, Wan'Dale Robinson, 14 targets, and he finished as wide receiver 27. Now, Malik Neighbors out of the lineup. We expect a hyper targeting of Wan'Dale Robinson, the main piece of this Giants offense. Also, with the running back Devin Singletary out for this game, Tyrone Tracy is going to be involved for sure, but Wan'Dale Robinson is going to be the main target for Daniel Jones. We want the targets. We want the target share, and we're not going to worry about whether he falls in the end zone or not. It's going to give us a solid floor. We want Wan'Dale Robinson in our lineups, wide receiver 21 in player profiler projections. Now, a player we're fading just a little bit, okay, lots of bit, relative to the consensus. The consensus has Stefon Diggs at wide receiver 15 this week, and we're fading him. We're moving him down to wide receiver 22, a pretty significant move, especially when you get into those flex considerations. Diggs, over the last couple weeks, he's had 2 top 14 performances, but he's also had a wide receiver 19 and wide receiver 46 finish. He's had at least 6 targets in every game. Those are good. Those are good things. Like, we're not fully fading Diggs into oblivion, but we want to look at other options that are above Diggs in the projections. And so Diggs, I think that the revenge game narrative has gotten to the head of some of the rankers in the expert consensus, because I know it's Houston Texans, Buffalo Bills, revenge game narrative, but this is also one of those games where, we look at the projections and 5.5 catches for Stefon Diggs, not even 60 yards. Half of the games, Stefon Diggs has not even eclipsed 40 receiving yards in a game. So when we take into account the projections, Tank Dell, whether he plays or not, non-factor, we know Diggs is the number 2 option behind Nico Collins in this Houston Texans offense. Diggs moves down just a little bit. We're not being aggressive about this revenge game narrative between the Bills and the Texans with regard to Stefon Diggs. Now, a player that the player profiler projections is more bullish on, we're going to leave you with this one. Wide receiver, 3 wide receivers for this week, boldly projecting Michael Pittman as a top 12 wide receiver. His expert consensus is wide receiver 19. And I don't think the consensus rankers have caught up to the fact that Anthony Richardson is not expected to play, that it's Joe Flacco. We've seen time and again, Joe Flacco, veteran Super Bowl champion Joe Flacco, get the ball down the field to the number 1 wide receivers. We've seen this with Amari Cooper. We even saw it last week. Josh Downs, in his first game with Anthony Richardson, sure, he got like a 30% target share, but guess what? His targets were 3 times as far down the field. And a similar thing with Michael Pittman, who was missing out on a lot of air yards. Michael Pittman, one of the league leaders in unrealized air yards, because Anthony Richardson, not an accurate quarterback down the field. He struggles. We know this, but you know who doesn't struggle to get the ball to his receivers? It's Joe Flacco. Flacco, very accurate. Flacco, savvy in the pocket, not willing to move around. He knows where the ball needs to get to, and it's to Michael Pittman. Pittman and Downs are the 1A, 1B in this Indy offense, and Flacco is going to be looking to hit downfield against a struggling Jacksonville Jaguars defense. I mean, the Jaguars overall have struggled, but the reality is this is going to be a very good game for Michael Pittman. He is a safe top 12 pick, top 12 play for week number 5. If you like the content and find it helpful, smash the subscribe button here on Player Profiler. You can follow me on X at FFStalder. Check out all the projections and the player rankings on playerprofiler.com. Until next time, everyone, good luck in the fantasy football streets.